Construction of second Niger Bridge will not be interrupted by lack of funds, says Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola. Nigerians urged to tolerate one another for peace to reign. Plus, studio discussion on World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. These are more on Panorama today with me, Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia. Stay tuned. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the real meaning and cost of the Changing the Change slogan by the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, means taking the country back to where it was in 2015, a corrupt nation that has lost respect among Committee of Nations. Garba Shehu, in a write-up tagged "The Real Price of Changing the Change," said the Buhari-led administration has succeeded in abolishing grand corruption at the top, and as attested to by the American President Donald Trump. The SSA said corruption is fighting back, as stated by the President during the inauguration of the headquarters of the EFCC recently. He cited the loot recovered from past officials and their collaborators as evidence of government's fight against corruption not being lip service oriented. The Buhari victory in 2015 and the possibility of more years, he said, have crumbled the dreams of endlessly looting the state, and the growing list of achievements of the administration is not doing any good for them. And away from that, Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, has assured that work for the construction of the second Niger Bridge will not be interrupted for lack of funds. The minister said this during the project assessments at the site in Oka. Usman Aliu now reports.
This bridge looks okay, but in reality, a new one is desirable. It survived civil war of 1967 to 1970. But fatigue, age and stress suffered, as well as the increasing pressure from continuous usage is causing concern to many. Attempts were made before the Buhari administration to construct a new Niger bridge, but funds were not made available for the contractor to go beyond proposal and minor repairs of the bridge, which could not be finished as disclosed. Such successive failures made the people of the area to conclude that the project will never see the light of the day. But now the federal government has shown serious commitment with the achievements of completion of preliminary work and the beginning of foundation, beams and decks. While on an assessment, a meeting between Minister of Power Works and Housing and Anambra State Governor was held. Issues on the project were clarified.
What I can tell you is that contractor will not leave the site again because of funding. Yes, 3.44 billion naira is compensation we have. You see, that's a lot of money to pay for land. We have paid 1.8 billion. Our strategy is to pay in sections where the contractor immediately wants to work, because we keep receiving more claims.
About this visit, it's very encouraging. He personally reassured me that this time around is going to be different.
The action by the government on this project, as they say, has risen their hope. No interruption anymore. The waiting game for the second Niger Bridge is over as it gradually comes up. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
And still talking infrastructure development, the people of Nasarawa State at a solidarity rally in Kefi town commended the federal government for the approval of $995 million to fix the Abuja Kefi Akwanga Makudi Road. Joshua Ojito reports that the project, when completed, will strengthen economic activities and provide relief to motorists.
In addition to the new project, the federal government is seriously working on the completion of Nasarawa Loco Road and the Loco Oweto Bridge connecting Nasarawa and Benue states. There is also the ongoing construction of 330 kV power substation and housing units, all in Lafia, among other federal government projects in the state. On the basis of this, the people say they will continue to support the present administration for more developmental projects that will enhance their well-being. Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and many other stakeholders said the massive investment in infrastructure by the Buhari administration will help develop the state.
The people of Nasarawa State appreciate all that Muhammad Buhari has been doing and have taken their relationship with Muhammad Buhari as something that is for better. And I assure you, by the time the election comes, you will know that Nasarawa State is the second home of President Muhammad Buhari.
He is doing what ordinarily politics would not give you. He is addressing key primary issues that affect life.
Minister of State Environment Ibrahim Usman Jibrin assured the people of the state that federal government will sustain its intervention in key critical areas of the economy for the overall development of the country. From Kefi, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Well, away from that, today the world over is marked World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development. It is a day set aside by the United Nations to deepen understanding and bridge the gap between cultures for effective growth and development, not only for economic growth, but also as a means of leading a more fulfilling intellectual, emotional, moral, and spiritual life. With 3/4 of the world's major conflicts said to be culture-related and a growing wave of intolerance and restrictions imposed on the exercise of the right to freedom, we have in the studio Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe, the Director General, the Center for Black African Arts and Culture, to speak more on culture and conflict resolutions. You're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much, my sister.
Now we're talking about cultural diversity. From what I just, read, it said 3/4 of the world, talking about conflict in 3/4 of the world, attributed to cultural diversity. How is this possible?
Well, the issue is that what you've read, I may not agree completely. The situation is that culture in its own has the potential of resolving several conflicts across climes, across cultures, across boundaries. From time before the advent of colonialism, people had lived together, and that conflicts are resolved by a lot of things through cultural means. One of them is in cross-border marriages. If you marry somebody from a place that there was a conflict, automatically you have become in-laws, and the conflict escapes from there. Another one, there are festivals, you invite these people, they come in and eat with you, and it's done once in a year, at times once after every 2 years. Such programs actually engender friendliness, amity among nations. And most importantly, there has been this process of using traditional institutions to stamp out some criminals, some fraudulent practices, and some disagreements and conflicts. Traditional institutions across the land actually determine and dictate the pace of development, and have most of the time found out those who are wrong, who don't behave fine in the communities. And so if you walk through these traditional institutions, it is clear that you stamp out criminals and criminology. Let me just say, for instance, that the communities, the people who now use culture to the negative aspect, are those who cause problems for. So when you talk about hate speech and what have you, it is called ethnocentrism. That is labeling cultures against other cultures, preferring yours as superior and others as inferior. And it is done by those who are not properly organized, exposed, and tutored about cultural development and promotion. And to this extent, we're thinking that culture should be rather exploited as a means of resolution of conflicts. One example is what they call alternative dispute resolution mechanism. This process, ADR, you use culture, you use respect, you use conviviality, you use conveniences, and be able to talk about, at times they rattle in proverbs, and at the end of the day, the problem is solved.
Well,
there is a Kachacha example in Kigali, where they killed themselves in several millions, after which they come home, and today they are resolving conflicts, not even using the Western court style. they now use this alternative dispute resolution mechanism.
Yeah, I agree with you on the many benefits, you know, of cultural diversity.
Yes.
But then when we talk about the negative aspects of it, definitely whatever has a positive has a negative. Now, talking about the negative, how can this day now, the celebration of the World Day for Cultural Diversity, how can it address
Well, our interest is that we call scholars across the nation. I am the president of Pan-African Cultural Congress Bureau. We've held meetings across the continent, and we've been severally in Addis Ababa, in Yaoundé, in Pretoria, in many other places, in Harare. We've been able to agree that one of the factors of unifying is ensuring that our languages are used beyond the boundaries from where those languages are located. And you try to internationalize this language usage so that you'll be able to hear what other people are saying. And most importantly, that we understand, we build seminars, we build conferences, we organize.
Well, sorry to cut you. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, you know, and with diverse cultures and over 500 languages. You know, what is the way forward for us in this country?
It is for us to understand those languages, no matter how diverse they are. We'll be able to understand what the messages those languages convey. The universities have to research more on this. There are some of them that are already understood, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. People are still playing pranks with those ones. We are trying to say that we must come up with understanding of all this. And most importantly, we should train children from primary school so that they will understand at least 3-4 languages. So that you don't use hate speech. You cannot deceive people by using one language which another person does not understand. So it is clear that we can make use of this culture for our national unity and amity across among nations.
Well, I'm sure this discourse we can never expend the time for it, but thank you for coming on Panorama.
It's my pleasure.
I've been speaking with Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe, the Director General, CBAC. If you're just joining us, this is Panorama on the network service of the NTA. It's time now to pause for some messages. We'll continue shortly.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Thank you for staying tuned to Panorama. Repentance, steadfastness, and upholding social justice as prescribed by Islam are factors that a renowned scholar, Professor Salisu Shehu, says will turn the fortunes of the country. Well, this was at the Al-Habibia Islamic Society's annual National Unity in Abuja. Musa Abubakar reports.
The recitation from the glorious Quran set the tone for the 12th Al-Habibia Annual National Unity Lecture. The theme, Fast, Feed, and Be Just, provided a platform for speakers to give Islamic perspective to overcome challenges such as poverty and inequality in the society, which they say have impeded on growth and development of the country. Speakers explained that fasting and charity are two deeds highly revered in Islam, admonishing faithfuls to indulge in them to earn Allah's favor.
The Ramadan should now serve as a cleaning agent. It's to clean our soul, to clean our system, to purify what we do and to guide our action.
Purification and purity of purpose, purity of the spirit. These are all what encapsulates Ramadan.
The guest speaker, Professor Salisu Shehu, who observed that society thrives on distributive justice, advised leaders to be just and fair in order to move the country forward.
When there is no distributive justice, the rich continue to become richer, while the poor continue to become poorer.
There is a message of hope as all remain faithful towards building a greater Nigeria. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
An Islamic cleric has advocated the establishment of Zakatul Fitr, which is the alms-giving commission. The proceeds, he says, will be utilized for the less privileged in the society. Imam of the National Mosque, Dr. Ahmed Onilewua, made the call at the Ramadan lecture by the Islamic Youth League of Nigeria in Abuja. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed now reports.
In his lecture titled Islamic Recipe for Poverty Reduction in the Society, the Imam employed businessmen to be transparent in all their financial dealings, where no party is cheated. He charged Muslims to always remember the less privileged in this holy month of Ramadan by extending a hand of fellowship in order to give them a sense of belonging.
While fasting, they go to their work and be honest, be truthful in whatever they do.
The event also featured prayers for the peace and stability of the country. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
And as the days of the holy month of Ramadan rolls by, Muslims have been encouraged to give to the less privileged out of their bounties in order to have a society free of poverty. Well, this is the focus of the Ramadan lecture by Sheikh Muhyiddin Ajani Bello of the Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria in Abuja. Once again, Ahmed Ondas Ahmed reports.
The theme of the lecture, Corporate Social Responsibility Antidote to Insecurity and Poverty in Nigeria, Islamic Perspective, centered on the need for Islamic faithful to be their brother's keeper during the holy month of Ramadan and beyond, to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, and give better access to feeding during the season. Director General Nigeria Television Authority Yakubu Ibn Mohammed and other speakers at the lecture said Nigerians must complement government's effort in ensuring security of lives and property.
In the mosque, we have security there. In the church, we have security there. In every company, we need to create a security committee which will take care of our environment.
So the lesson we have come to learn there is about being personally responsible to our neighbors, to our relatives, to everyone around us. And from that, there will be peace. There will be good neighborliness.
In the spirit of the season, prayers were offered for the peace of the country. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
Still talking religion, Nigerians, irrespective of religious faith and ethnicity, must tolerate one another in unity and love for peace to reign in the country. Guest lecturer and chief imam, University of Ibadan Central Mosque, Professor Abdurrahman Oloyede, stated this at the 14th NTA Abeokuta Ramadan lecture. Mohammed Adebowale reports.
With the theme, Islam, Christianity and National Integration, the 2018 annual Ramadan lecture brought to the fore the role of religion in peace building and cohesion. The guest lecturer, Professor Abdurrahman Oluyede of the University of Ibadan Central Mosque identified lack of in-depth knowledge of religious beliefs as the major cause of the various challenges threatening the peaceful coexistence of the country.
Nigeria is a multi-religious society, and religion plays a remarkable role in our social and as well as political setup. Integration and development can take place only in a peaceful atmosphere, and this peaceful atmosphere can only exist in a society pegged and entrenched in high moral and religious motivation.
The chairman of the event, the Baba Adini of Yoruba land, Edo and Delta, Alhaji Sharafaddin Tudi Shola, and the head of the family, Tajuddin Ogoluwa, Alhaji Najimdin Jimo, said the security and socio-economic challenges facing the country are not irredeemable.
The right to worship, freedom of religion, freedom of expression are things that are guaranteed in the Constitution.
I admonish us all to put to use whatever we learn for our spiritual and physical development. And even after the Ramadan, the fear of God, self-discipline, unity, national consciousness, and fulfillment of civic obligations.
High point of the lecture was the recitation of the Holy Quran. In Abeokuta, Muhammad Adebowale, NTA News.
And talking education now, academic experts have advocated a collaborative effort towards raising the standard of mathematical sciences in the nation's institutions of higher learning. Well, this was at the closing of the maiden edition of statistics competition for tertiary institutions in the country held in Abuja. Chukwuno Sowabweze reports that University of Nigeria, Nsukka, emerged the overall best in both individual and institutional categories.
The importance of accurate data to national development cannot be overemphasized. It is in the light of this that the 4-day statistics competition was put together by the National Mathematical Center and Nigerian Statistical Association to stimulate enthusiasm in the learning of mathematics and mathematical sciences among young Nigerian students. Chibike Emmanuel Ugu inspired the University of Nigeria Nsukka to win both the students and the institution's top prizes after defeating his closest contenders, Chukwuemelie Aziyegu of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, and Prince Anitienda of Akwa Ibom State University. With this maiden edition adjudged by many as successful, organizers are optimistic of staging a better one next year.
We are committed to encouraging and supporting activities such as these, leading to the improvement of the teaching and learning of mathematical sciences at all levels.
This year's competition centered on probability distribution. The sole aim of this competition is to rekindle the dwindling interest of students in statistics.
Statistics is not just the production of statistics, but also the dissemination and communication of statistics.
40 undergraduate students from 20 different institutions of higher learning in Nigeria participated in the competition. From the National Mathematical Center, Chukwuno Sowabweze, NTA News.
And for a bit of politics, as the political space is becoming engaged, more groups are taking advantage of the electioneering period to encourage people's participation in democratic processes. National Democracy Stakeholders Group is one of such groups that increases mobilization of Nigerians towards preserving the nation's democracy. Saliu Abdullahi tells us more.
The group says it is the right time for stakeholders in Nigeria's democratic process to take ownership of the 2019 electoral process through active participation, mobilization, and enlightenment. The members agreed that government policies under the Buhari administration, such as the fight against insecurity and corruption, are strengthening the nation's democracy.
We of the National Democracy Stakeholders Group, NDSG, consider it a political landmark that should be celebrated and built on.
As part of the group's vision for sustaining democracy, the members are organizing a solidarity walk.
And it aimed at enlightening the Nigerian electorate on the powers of their vote and the need to participate in choosing who governs them.
National Democracy Stakeholders Group is a pro-democracy organization committed to adding value to Nigeria's democracy. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And next is our sports update with Amanzi Marcus.
Kwara United Football Club of Ilorin beat MFM of Lagos 3-1 on Sunday to get 26 points from 22 matches in the Nigeria Professional Football League and gradually move away from the relegation zone. The match was transmitted live by the NTA.
They shouldn't let their guards off. If they do, they will get punished.
Good opportunity. It's a goal! Niger Tornadoes won away to Ifeanyi Uba, while Kano Pillars forced Nasarawa United to a goalless draw at the Lafia Township Stadium. Meanwhile, Hoops and Reed defeated Police Baton 75-47 weekend in the